If you want to start a spiritual conversation with someone, how would you do it? Now, in another video, I asked the same question. Right? You want to be starting a conversation with someone, or you want to talk to them about Jesus, but you don't have the foggiest idea how you're going to go about doing it. Right? And so I looked at two possibilities, things that I've seen time and time again used as conversation starters to get the ball rolling in your spiritual conversation. Last time I looked at, if you were to die tonight, where would you go? I've seen that one oftentimes used to get the ball rolling. If you were to die tonight, where would you go? And I've also seen oftentimes, why should God let you in to heaven? I've seen those two used over and over again as spiritual conversation starters. Now in the other video, I dismissed those and said those were not too good approaches in starting the conversation. So watch the other video and figure out and see there why I dismissed them and thought those were not good questions to ask. Right? So we still have that question on the table. How are you going to go about doing it? I dismissed the other one, so how am I going to do it? Now, how I would do it is simply flip the tables around and ask the person you want to have the conversation with how they would do it. So you flip the tables around and you ask them exactly what's on this whiteboard here. So you ask them, if you want to have a spiritual conversation with someone, how would you do it? See how I do that? You just flip it right around and you ask them. You don't have to rack your brains. You don't have to come up with anything else other than you have this question. You don't know how to ask it. So you ask them how they would do it. So you sit back, you take mental notes, you figure out the worldview that they're coming from. Maybe they're talking something about God, maybe Jesus, maybe church, maybe the Bible, something along those lines. You take whatever pieces you want to continue on to use in the conversation, you pick those up, and you reciprocate those things right back at them. And the things that you don't want to talk about, things that are rabbit trails, things maybe that you don't even understand or know about, you just leave those things by the wayside. So here you have the conversation has now started, right? It's already off and running, and you got it. You got the conversation off and running. God is doing the work. You're sitting back. You're being a good listener. You're reciprocating back to them, asking them for further elaboration, narrowing that road down to focusing it upon Jesus. They're doing the work for you. All you did was ask them the question that you didn't know how to ask them, and that is the starter question. You ask them, if you want to have a spiritual conversation with someone, how would you do it? You have asked them that now. They've answered it for you. You're a good listener. You're taking notes. God is doing the leading. It's off and going about. You didn't have to figure out how to start the conversation at all. You just asked that question to them, and they answered it for you because you just got that spiritual conversation going. It's a sneaky way to do it. It's a great way to do it. And I think it's a godly way to do it because you are working on your listening skills and you're letting God be the leader. So keep being thoughtful in how you're doing it. Keep being even crafty. You got to be crafty. You got to be smart. You got to be wise. And above all, you got to be a good listener. You have to be. If you're not a good listener, if God is not the center of your heart, kiss the conversation goodbye. You can only be a great evangelist if you're a good listener, because at the end of the day, great witnessing is great listening. So keep watching Priority Jesus. Work on your listening skills. Be a great witness for God. Priority Jesus. Make Jesus the priority of your life.